Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. Now, we're in our usual daggy backdrop because I need to get somewhere set up. The back patio that we're doing, I just can't afford the roofing yet, so we can't use that. And it's just the garden's so overgrown, and I can't wear shoes at the moment because I managed to break my toe a couple of days ago, kicking a big metal thing with my little toe, and it's bruised from the toe all the way up my foot. So I can't put shoes on, so I don't want to walk out in the overgrown garden. So we're stuck with this. So it is Sunday and we're doing our Sunday chat video. Now, I had on my sort of schedule thing that today's would be a hamper video, except that there's no hamper this month, apparently. I hadn't realised. But no hamper in January, which is a little bit sad because January is a lean month for me, and I'd imagine it's a lean month for everyone else. So it's a bit unfortunate, but it just means that Daryl has to go into Toowoomba next week, I think it is, for some medical appointments. So I might send him to Coles or whatever to grab some extra apples and carrots and stuff, which is normally the stuff that we really appreciate from the hamper as well. Not only the bits and pieces extra, the little bits of meat and things like that, but more the fresh fruit and veg for the kids, just for the extra fresh stuff coming in. We do still have apples and carrots in the fridge. They're still eating through those, but yeah, it might be nice to just go and spend $50, which is what the hamper costs, on fruit and veg at Coles or whatever while he's in Toowoomba, just to top up that fresh food stuff. So yeah, no hamper this month. So we're going to do the chat video instead. And what I've been getting asked the most is about the keto stuff. So I'll put a photo in of Daryl for the update of the side shot that everyone has been asking about. He's really happy on it. He's happy with the food. He's happy with the results. He's happy with how he feels. The loss of weight for him has made him feel better and things like that. He just sort of carried that middle-aged man gut, and it was really bugging him because he has never been that kind of guy. He's always been slim most of his life, and to be carrying that was really starting to disturb him. So he's glad to have gotten rid of most of that. He's put in exercise as well as the diet, so he's doing his 25 minutes of weights and the vibrating platform and things like that every morning, and trying to complete some tasks and things like that. I don't know whether I've mentioned it too many times before, but we actually have a turkey on the property. Her name is Albert, because we didn't know whether she was male or female at the time, but we call her Albert. And she just turned up one day, a bit like the geese turned up one day, a bit like roosters turn up one day. She just turned up one day, and we fed her because you don't not feed tame animals. We put out, said if anyone's missing a turkey. Nobody claimed to be missing a turkey. So we fed her, and actually she had a whole nest at one point. Obviously the eggs weren't fertilized, so we put chicken eggs under her, and she hatched a whole bunch of chicks and things like that. So she free ranges predominantly. We did have her in a cage for a while with the chicks, but she free ranges predominantly. Now she is on her lonesome, but we just haven't had the opportunity to get her any friends. A local gentleman has a free male and female turkey and a baby, I think it was that he said. So we're going to grab them off him today, tomorrow-ish, but we need to get a pen because we're going to have to pen them up for a little while before we free range them. So Daryl was already extending the poultry pens, and he's just pivoted slightly on what he's doing so that he's going to create the pen for the turkeys before anything else. So at the moment he's been working on that each day, and we've been deciding how we're going to do all the D&D work and all that sort of stuff. So it's really helped with his mental state, really helped with his physical state as well, and he's happy doing it. He's happy eating predominantly meat. He can eat pretty much meat for each meal, and he doesn't have a problem with it. So that is just fantastic. Now, I have taken no photos, no measurements, nothing like that, because I wasn't doing this for weight loss. I have weighed exactly what I weigh when I got weighed for my pregnancy with Surreal. So Surreal is 18 this year, and when I was weighed when I fell pregnant with her, I weighed within the same 10 kilos that I still weigh. I have never fluctuated from that 10 kilos. I start my pregnancies at that weight and I finish my pregnancies at that weight. Like even when I'm 9 months pregnant and I've had 10-pound babies, I'm still within that 10 kilo weight. It just seems to be where my body sits. So I'm not actually concerned about my weight. Yes, I'm classified as, I think I'm even on the BMI scale, which I'm not real fond of. I'm classified as morbidly obese, but I don't fluctuate. I don't gain, I don't lose. I can eat anything I want, pretty much, and I did for many years, and I don't gain weight. The reason I wanted to do the diet was to try and help with chronic inflammation and pain and things like that. So unfortunately, I've had no significant effects from it so far. I've actually just gone through a week of such severe pain that I've had to sleep for a couple of hours every afternoon just to get away from it. So it's not helping me in that sense. I haven't lost any weight on the scales. Everyone comments that I look like I've thinned out, which is probably more just fluid, but because I'm not eating carbs, I'm not holding the fluid. I don't find, Daryl has found during the diet that if he eats carbs, so like he had a cheat, it was a while ago now, might have been before Christmas, he had a cheat where he had Hungry Jacks and he couldn't be bothered asking for it without a bun or anything, so he had Hungry Jacks and some chips and he was violently ill for days. His body just could not tolerate it, and he is a bit like that. So when he's not low carb, he can't have dairy. We've had this before. We did keto for about 12, 18 months when the boys were babies, I think it was. Again, he had put on some weight and he lost it all. So we did the keto then, and he found that if he was on keto, he could eat dairy. But as soon as he's eating carbs and other things, he struggles with reflux and he can't eat dairy. So for him, his body seems to really enjoy this, and he knows exactly, like if he eats certain things, his body reacts to it. And I think that that's a wonderful thing to be able to know. Like, it's not wonderful. You don't want to be ill from eating things, but at the same time, it's clear that what his body can and can't tolerate, whereas I don't get any of that. So if I eat a cheat meal at mum's, which I have done, nothing, no difference in bowels or stomach or well-being or weight or anything else. If I eat strict keto, no difference. Now I know that we could go down to carnivore and remove some more inflammatory ingredients like the sweeteners and the almonds and stuff like that. Can't afford it. That's what it comes down to. At the moment, by adding in the dairy and some of that almond meal and some of that, baked stuff and certain things, it's still challenging to have enough, to be honest. Like, we went through the beef that we bought within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the grocery period. So we're down to only mince now. We've gone through most of the pork already. There's a little bit left that we're eating through now, and I've got some pork mince as well. And we're down to mostly chicken again. And chicken is just not particularly satisfying. But it's good quality cheap. Like, yes, okay, I can buy beef mince for the same price as I can buy chicken thighs. I get, close. I buy skin on chicken thighs for $7.50 a kilo, but I have to take the bones out. So say $8.50 a kilo is what it actually costs me. And beef mince is $9.99 a kilo. So much of a muchness in price, but the quality of a skin on chicken thigh when cooked up is much nicer than beef mince. Like, I get really, really bored of beef mince. I make it into hamburger patties. I make it into meatballs. I do it into taco mince and have taco bowls. We do it with scrambled with eggs and have it in breakfast style scrambles. I get really, really bored with it. Really bored with it. So that's hard, and what we need is more sort of steak and stir fry beef and things like that. But the cost of that is upwards of $16 a kilo. Like, I can buy a rump for 16 and it can be sliced thin and used as stir fry type beef, and that's fine. Steaks we're paying upwards of $30 a kilo for, and you eat it quite fast because you eat it in these big pieces because it's steak. So for me, the ability to afford to go carnivore isn't there. We cannot put that much. We put extra money into meat this month as it is, and we're already struggling. So I do have some tuna there, and I plan to make some tuna cakes, and I do have some prawns left from Christmas as well to try and intertwine between the meals that we're going to be making the rest of this month. But we're pretty much out of beef. Other than mince, which I will use, but as I said, I get bored. I get really sick of eating it and trying to decide, and I tend to just not eat enough then, which isn't the right thing to do. So we did do Whole30 for a while as well, which I quite enjoyed, but the problem with that becomes that because we shop so far between, we don't always have enough veggies for that to work. We do buy frozen veggies, and frozen veggies are tolerable. They're not anywhere near as nice, but it's hard. It's when we're doing this 8 weekly shopping and then also trying to integrate a specific diet, it does make it difficult, as well as doing it on a budget. And I remember, so I watched a video from Frugal Fun Mum yesterday or the day before. I should link it in the description. And she's talking about the definitions of frugal, right? And what people's assumptions about frugal people. So I would classify us as fairly frugal. I know where every cent of my money goes. I have a spreadsheet that literally tracks every cent of my income coming in, going out into each bank account, savings accounts, what is spent. I have projections up for the whole financial year, all the way into the end of June. I have projections of projected income, projected expenses, when my rates are due, all these sorts of things. And I classify that as potentially part of that frugalness. She was talking about how people think that frugal people don't spend any money, and how frugal people never have any fun, never buy anything, and all this sort of thing. And I completely related to what she was saying. I mentioned in the last video, but I didn't even realize I was saying it at the time, and I've had plenty of comments about it, that I got the comment about because I visit a food bank, I shouldn't be using baking paper. That's one of those things. We visit the food bank because the food bank is open to us to visit. We are eligible because every single person in our community is eligible to visit the food bank here. The food pantry is what I call it. I'm referring it to as a food bank mostly for the US audience. Food pantry. And that's because they are a not-for-profit and they donate hampers to people in need. So when we had the big fires that came through, they gave hampers out to the families that need it. They would not have the capacity to do that if they didn't have paying customers. So by us purchasing those hampers, it allows them to donate to people in need because we're supporting their not-for-profit business. So anyone is eligible to access the business, and it is a business, it's just a not-for-profit business. And then by accessing it, we give them the capacity to donate to families in need and perhaps supply hampers to families who are struggling. Like if someone contacted Peter and Lois and said, we really need a hamper this month, but we have no capacity to pay for it, then that's what they're there for. And by us just continuously paying for the hampers each month, that helps them to do that. But yes, we get food hampers or food pantries, food banks, whatever you want to call it, because for a start, because we only shop every 8 weeks, it's a great little, thing in the middle. But also because we're frugal, we have the ability to access it, and it gives us $50 worth of, $100 worth of food for $50 or whatever it is. It varies. So why wouldn't we access that? Why wouldn't we? It just seems common sense to do that. Yes, I still buy baking paper because, again, baking paper to me is almost a frugal purchase. So it's inexpensive, very inexpensive, especially when you buy it in the big bulk rolls at Costco. And it has the potential to save me food. It has the potential to save me water and time because I'm not scrubbing trays. And you've all seen my trays. cookie sheets are black because they're aluminium, and we cooked in a barbecue for 5 years, and so everything got turned black. And yes, I could steel wool them. Actually, I don't know if I could because they're aluminium. Not sure. But yes, I could clean them up a little bit. And no, nothing on those trays is actually going to hurt you. It's just blackening from flames on trays. But it's so much nicer to cook food on baking paper on those trays. There's none of that potential contamination from whatever it is, the blackening, the potential carcinogens or whatever on that aluminium tray with the charcoal on it. Like, you know, so realistically, baking paper saves me money, time, and food waste. So you buy certain things that may look extravagant, or the other thing she said is the quality over quantity, and that's definitely true too. So yes, we buy, when I eventually bought the boys got tablets for Christmas, and I went halves with mum to buy some tablets for the kids. Now I bought iPads because iPads have a lifespan that is many years, whereas some of the Android kids types ones, they just don't work long enough, and so by the time you replace them, then you're paying the same amount anyway. Or I bought, what else have I bought recently? I don't know, I can't think of, I own a KitchenAid, my Thermomix. So a Thermomix costs you $2,500, and it is an expensive, significant investment. I use my Thermomix pretty much every day. And it saves me money, it saves me time, it saves me, it's also good for the kids. The kids will use the cookie dough and do the guided cooking. They make pancakes, they make waffles, they make cakes, all sorts of things. They look up the recipes on cookie dough and they make things. So they're making snacks. That's saving me time with supervision, though I do have my own personal recipe book that I write things out on that they use as well. But it was a significant investment, but it saves me time. So for me, that was an investment that was worthwhile because it actually saves me time. KitchenAid's the same thing. So I squirreled a bit, rambled a little bit there, but that was just sort of to address the baking paper thing. I get a lot of comments that are unpleasant, and I try not to bring them up too much because I just sort of think that that's just giving them airtime, and it's, you know, it's silly. But anyway, so where were we? Back to the keto carnivore thing. So yeah, it's the cost of the beef is like, I could maybe swing the dollar value needed to do the whole 2 months of beef, but at the same time, I can't bring myself to do it because the cost of beef in comparison to the quality chicken and things like that is just too high, and it would eat into, we have a very small savings amount, and it would eat into that to get started. But also we have so many projects that need doing. The roof on the back patio, and we're looking at $2,500 to $3,000 for that. This roof here, we have most of the parts. We just haven't got to doing it yet because it's a little bit more complicated than Daryl is willing to approach, but hopefully I can get James out here when it cools down and we can get this roof finished. But we will need to spend a little bit of money to do the wall behind me, because we'll need some gyprock or something for the wall behind, and that's the thing. We didn't end up getting a small second potbelly stove or anything last year for the new extension space, so that's still potentially on the cards this year. We will see how we go. I'm also looking at a new tank for transporting water. At the moment we use an IBC, a 1,000 litre pod. They're not really meant to be used the way we're using them, which is very continuously and strapped to a trailer. They are used for transporting liquids, but normally they're like filled with liquids and stacked and stored somewhere and emptied, and we're using it continuously, and it has a great big crack in it. So it does leak some water, and the metal base is broken, so it's not as stable on the trailer as we would like. So I was looking at a transportation pod. They have 15-year warranty, made out of polyurethane and all the rest of it. You can get 1,000 litre ones for about $1,600, which an IBC is only 200-ish, but this one will be a lifelong investment pretty much. And even if we manage to get a bore, which is another thing that's on the, you know, 1-day list, because we're looking at 15 to 25k to do it, we will still need to transport water every now and again, and we will use piping and stuff, but that may come in handy regardless. So I think it's well worth the investment when we have the ability to invest in it. So there's those on the cards. The garden still needs a lot of work, though it doesn't need monetary input at the moment, just needs time input, because we still have some soil, and we have most of the product that we need for Daryl to make the covers. He just will do that. That's the aim, to do them over winter, to get all the covers on the bed so that we can do some brassicas and stuff. There's always projects, always projects. Once this kitchen is turned around, we were hoping to do a built-in pantry down here against the wall, which we were going to do in like the 25mm insulated panels, like we've done the shower rows, the shower bay, cubicle, whatever you want to call it. But again, we have to purchase those insulated panels. We still have the trailer that we were going to enclose. The idea was that if we enclose the trailer in insulated panels, then it would be better for transporting all the groceries and stuff. Potentially even put a cooling unit on the trailer, run by the Jackery or whatever. We hadn't really decided, because again, it's just too far in the future. Mum bought me a meat slicer at Christmas time. We bought it from Aldi. It was $70, I think, and it sucks. It's so bad. It wouldn't even cut the ham. It just made grinding noises and cut great big steaks, and it's absolutely useless. So I need to return that, but also potentially purchase a more expensive unit of it, because the idea was that if we could buy ham in the pieces rather than sliced ham, then I could shave it and we could go further. Again, another frugal sort of a thing, investing in a mincer so that I could shave my own ham. I also am going to be making some deli meats like some roast beef and things like that in the smoker. I can even do chicken and things like that, which if it goes further if you can slice it appropriately. And so, you know, slice it like that. So again, there's just so many projects on the cards that, you know. Anyway, I think I've just totally squirreled and rambled again. Keto-wise, for me, I don't know what I'm going to do for the moment. For the moment, I'm persevering and not enjoying it and not seeing any results. Yes, okay, I may appear to have thinned out, but that's not what I'm doing it for, and I don't really care. Weight loss is it's just not a priority for me. I have been this size my whole life, well, as long as I can remember, and I'm okay with it. It's not, you know, it sucks when I go and buy clothing. It sucks when I look back on videos and I can see my belly just sitting on the edge of the bench here. I hate that. But in the end, it's really just not a priority for me. What are you doing? Pussycat, coming to say hi. It's really just not an issue for me. So, not to say that eating healthier isn't a benefit. And I got the Stealth Health cookbooks and stuff recently to have a look at his, 500 calorie meals with meal plans. Nearly every meal has pasta or rice with it, and they use low fat dairy products to counteract the fact that they're using pasta and rice in every dish, which doesn't appeal to me. So, but it's a good, thing to flick through and have a look and have a decision whether I go Whole30. I'm trying to get my sourdough starter really well and lively again to try and then maybe I introduce some sourdough bread into what I'm doing, and that's enough to make me feel sated, or I don't know. We shall see how we go. For the moment, I'm sticking to it because I'm doing it for Daryl and it's fine, but I am finding it challenging to food. I like food and I'm not really enjoying food at the moment because I get stuck with these minimal things that I can eat and I have to make do, and it's just not working real well for me. So we will see how we go. But Daryl is thoroughly enjoying it. So, I think that's an entirely rambly, squirrely video that, is... Where are you going? that covers everything I think I wanted to cover. It was mostly that update on the keto, letting you know there was no hamper this month, and then I spiraled into that frugal conversation and things like that. So I think that's it. And I will finish up here, and I will see you guys on the next video. So I've managed Wednesday, Friday, Sunday this week. We'll see how we keep on going with that. And we may back it off to 2 a week if that's what I need to do. But generally speaking, there's other things for Sundays, not just these chats, because I know that these chat videos don't appeal to everyone. But generally speaking, like I would have had a hamper today, or you know, when we do grocery runs, that's only every 8 weeks and things like that. So we will see how we go. We're learning together here. I do need to get a couple of things up on the website, and I'll let you guys know when I've got those recipes up. I have been doing a lot of the D&D stuff lately. We're trying to figure out exactly the best way to streamline that, because it's paid work. So I've spent a lot of time doing that, but I also have been pretty sick this week, and I have just crashed for hours every evening, every afternoon, because I cannot stand the pain anymore, and the only way to escape it is to sleep, which is a really, really horrible place to be in. So it has been a bit of a crappy week, but I will see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.